little catching up on Jeff Gordon stuff there. So, howdy race fans, welcome to my little show about racing I like to call In the Pits with me, StockCar Scott, here on the YouTube on Wednesday nights when I feel like it, because I have no sponsor to try to tell me what I should do or shouldn't do. That, race fans, as you know, is my wife's job. Okay, Friday, as usual, was practice and qualifying there for Formula One. Practice was at São Paulo, Brazil. At Interlagos. It was on early there Friday morning. And as usual with this season, Mercedes was 1-2 in that practice with Nico Rosberg a little faster than his teammate, 2015 World F1 champion Lewis Hamilton. Also, kind of early on Friday was qualifying for the Camping World Truck Series there at Phoenix Raceway. Phenom Eric Jones was fastest in the Toads number 4 Toyota Tundra. Driver points challengers, Tyler Reddick there in the number 19 Brad Keselowski Racing F-150 qualified second, while defending champion Matt Crafton was fourth. A new favorite of mine, Rico Abreu, made his Camping World Truck debut by qualifying 14th. And that was with help from Snohomish County native, former NASCAR Northwest Elite champion Kevin Hamlin as his spotter. Y'all remember Kevin, don't you, from quite a few years back on the old Elite tour that we used to have? Yeah, truck qualifying was followed by Xfinity Series practice there on Friday. Then the Sprint Cup drivers had their 3 rounds of qualifying, with Jimmy Johnson putting the Lowe's number 48 Chevrolet on the pole, with the Stewart Haas Racing number 41 of Kurt Busch on the outside. I was very pleased to see that Dale Earnhardt Jr. qualified third, while my second favorite driver, Happy Harvick, was 8th fastest. Good, solid last round qualifying places there. So it was then unfortunately the reports of the madness that happened Friday night in Paris started to trickle in, intruding on the night's racing. Okay, as the truck race got started, Phenom Eric Jones led with points challengers Matt Crafton and Tyler Reddick right there in his rearview mirror. The first caution took 3 other teenagers out of competition and whittled down the field a bit. After another caution for a broken truck, the following restart took out 3 more young drivers, including debutant Rico Abreu, just short of the 1/3 mark of the race. So he didn't get a whole lot in there for his debut, but I'll be looking for more out of Rico in the future. Moving along with 30 laps to go, after running up front all night, Matt Crafton wrecked into Eric Jones and took himself out and damaged the number 4 Tundra. And oh yeah, crashed out his teammate Johnny Sauter in the number 98 there. So this might have mortally wounded Matt Crafton's championship three-peat hopes there. So Timothy Peters and John Hunter Nemechek restarted on the front row after the red flag for an extended cleanup there, and then raced with 20 laps to go there, while Tyler Reddick took advantage of Matt Crafton's mistake and climbed back up towards the top 5 after a minor wreck in his Brad Keselowski Racing F-150. Phenom Eric Jones was not torn up enough in the wreck with Matt Crafton to keep him out of the top 10. Timothy Peters, who I saw win at Talladega, went on to capture his second victory of the season. John Hunter Nemechek took his new sponsor to second, while John Rex Townley did not wreck and finished third. Daniel Suarez was 4th in his rented KBM Tundra, and points challenger Tyler Reddick jumps up to 2nd in points with his top 5 finish. Phenom Eric Jones, y'all are going to be thinking Phenom is his first name after a while, but he's really just young and up and coming. Eric Jones there survives getting wrecked for the 9th place finish. That helps him maintain his lead by 19 points over Reddick in the 19 truck. Matt Crafton, with his desperate bonehead move there at near the end of the race, drops to 3rd in points, 32 points back. And when you think about it, the trucks start, I think, 32 or 34 trucks each race, so he's about a whole race behind there. His championship chances are really slim. Local Canadian favorite Cameron Haley finished 11th, last truck on the lead lap, and he's battling John Rex Townsley there for the 5th place in points, and whoever is 5th place gets time on the stage during the Camping World Truck Series Awards Banquet. Unfortunately, I did not see Tyler Tanner of Auburn, Washington in the Phoenix race, as the number 63 MB Motorsports was rented to a Japanese driver for the race. But I did see pictures of local late model driver Molly Helmuth down there at Phoenix enjoying the racing. And that, folks, was the next to the last race of the season for the trucks. The last race of the season is coming up this Friday at Homestead, Florida. Of course, after the truck race, I watched the Paris stuff for the rest of the night. I tell you, I don't really even want to talk about it. So Saturday with Formula One qualifying at Sao Paulo, Brazil, at Interlagos, the track between the lakes there. It wound up like last time before that, I think, with, what's his name? Rosberg there on the pole for 5th consecutive Grand Prix. 2005 champion Lewis Hamilton alongside for yet another Mercedes lockout of the front row, and 4-time F1 champion Sebastian Vettel puts the Scuderia in 3rd for yet another time, this being for this his first season with Ferrari. Then came Xfinity qualifying with the Toad on the pole, while the Xfinity service guy came by to fix my Xfinity equipment so I could better enjoy racing. As I have learned, Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV, whether you like it or not. Anyway, after Xfinity qualifying came the last practice, where Kurt Busch was fastest in the Haas Automation number 41 Chevrolet. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. was 2nd fast and ran very strongly during long multi-lap runs. So things looked really good for the number 88 Nationwide Chevrolet for Sunday. Next on Saturday was the 200-lap Xfinity race at Phoenix International Raceway. The Toad was on the pole and proceeded to stink up the show by leading all but 10 laps of the 200-lap race. I think a few of the laps were the other 10 laps were led by Bad Brad Keselowski, and I think 3 of the laps were led by Elliott Sadler, the only Xfinity driver to lead. It was a chore to watch, folks. You know, those kinds of races are. Points leader Chris Buescher finished 13th, causing his lead to shrink just a little bit to 18 over Chase Elliott, who finished 4th. 5th place finisher Ty Dillon remains at 3rd in points, and 6th place finisher Reagan Smith maintains 4th. You see how close they're all together there. And Smith is 24 points behind Buescher in 1st there. Elliott Sadler stays 5th in points with his 9th place finish, and he like I said, he led a couple of laps there. My favorite driver Bubba Wallace from Mobile, Alabama, drops to 7th despite an 8th place finish, because Daniel Suarez was the highest finishing Xfinity regular with his 4th place finish in the race. That elevates him to 6th in points. The next race for the Xfinity Series is their finale for the season at Homestead Saturday. Okay, the Brazilian Grand Prix was early Sunday morning, and the race started with, what's his name, Rosberg there on the pole, and Hamilton was 2nd, and Vettel was 3rd, and after 71 laps at Interlagos, that was how they ended. It was not the most exciting race, but there was some battling for position that did happen, back in the pack and everything to make it a little exciting there. Lewis Hamilton led some of the laps during Rosberg's pitting that he had to do, but Lewis could never overtake Nico on the track there. The 2015 championship for F1 has been decided, but the win puts Rosberg in a position to finish 2nd ahead of Sebastian Vettel for the year. The final Formula One Grand Prix is in Abu Dhabi weekend after next at the end of this month. I hope it's a bit more exciting. Stop and take a Sterling drink here. Back to Sunday. Then came the penultimate race in the 2015 NASCAR Sprint Cup chase to see who would join the old man, Jeff Gordon, to race for the championship at Homestead. Or should I should say it would have been the next race that I would watch had it not been for rain. Yes, folks, rain in the desert. Yeah, so while I waited for the rain in the desert to subside, I watched a race on Fan Choice TV from New Smyrna, Florida, where it wasn't raining for the 200-lap 50th annual Governor's Cup. The winner of the last summer showdown at Evergreen Speedway, Bubba Pollard, was there running strongly early over Rusty's boy, Stephen Wallace. Derek Thorne was there from Southern California and in the field of 40 super late models. Bubba let Stephen Wallace pass him, about lap 62, 63 there, then rode around until the second caution. After that caution and a restart about halfway, Bubba Pollard in his number 26 Ford was able to put more pressure on Wallace until that pressure caused Bubba to actually lose second place to young Time Majestic, who went up to take the lead from Stephen Wallace. By the competition break they had there at lap 123, Californian Derek Thorne had worked his way up to 3rd from about mid-pack there as Bubba Pollard fell back to 4th. The race resumed after the 5-minute pit period with 77 laps to go. Okay, when they got restarted, that was where Stephen Wallace got jacked up and turned around. Maybe it was by Bubba Pollard, but with no instant replay, there was no way of really being sure. The number 91 of Time Majestic continued to lead, now followed by Derek Thorne with Bubba Pollard in 3rd. In the last segment, Time Majestic held on for the win, followed by Jeff Schofield, who had charged up to be 2nd there late in the race, followed by Derek Thorne and Bubba Pollard. Only 6 cars were on the lead lap, and a dozen or so were all that was left on the track at the end of the 200-lap race. And the race in New Smyrna ended just as opening ceremonies were happening at Phoenix. I mean, Jeff Gordon Raceway, they had called it for the day. Thank you, Fans Choice TV, for giving me something to watch there during the rain delay. And it was single camera coverage, but it was excellent coverage nonetheless. And if you watch my race videos, you see why that I am quite willing to praise folks who do the single camera coverage, even with its limitations, and my limitations in making my mouth work sometimes. Well, wouldn't you know it, more rain fell at Jeff Gordon Raceway, but New Smyrna had another race for me to watch. It looked like a modified late model division of some sort, maybe four bangers there, four-cylinder cars, but they had a decent field of about 20 or so cars. And about the same time that the NASCAR coverage changed from NBC proper over to NBC SN, then they started to fill, of course, during the rain delay, and one of the things they filled with was the replay of the ending of the Talladega race. Of course, I knew the coverage of racing would never be allowed to conflict with the NFL on Sunday night. So I feel bad for you folks if you didn't have NBC SN so you could watch the race. Back on Fans Choice TV, the second race at New Smyrna, that one, it looked like Patrick Thomas in the number 111 won that second race. While I knew already who had been awarded the win there at Talladega a few weeks ago because I was there. The Phoenix 500K finally came on NBC SN about 6 o'clock or so our time. The race began with Kurt Busch jumping the initial start. He was just a bumper ahead of pole sitter Jimmy Johnson there, but that put Kurt to the back of the field where he battled to get back to the front. But he soon had company there soon enough when Jimmy Johnson sped during his first trip to pit row during the competition caution. So back to the longest line. From there, much of the race was led by Kevin Harvick, who everybody said had the car and was the one to beat, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. He started third and he ran there or second through most of the race too. So I really enjoyed seeing my favorites run well. Harvick led most of the laps before the red flag came out for, you guessed it, more rain. Johnson had led a bunch of laps early, and chasers Jeff Gordon and Brad Keselowski also had led a few laps, as well as the Toad, who actually led one lap there for a point. But because of an advantageous yellow flag around lap 200, Dale Earnhardt Jr. inherited the lead after he pitted just as the caution came out and was able to stay out while all the other lead lap cars pitted. And that put Dale Jr. in the lead when the rain came back for the final time at Phoenix. So, Dale Earnhardt wins. Junior wins. I'm so happy. I'm glad. I mean, I know it was a rained out race. It's a wet one, but everybody gets, all the great drivers get a wet win in their career. So Junior wins, and I'm happy about it. So there you go. And let's see. The drivers that are now eligible for the Sprint Cup Championship this coming weekend at Homestead Speedway in Florida are the old man, Jeff Gordon, Happy Harvick, defending champion, the Toad in the crispy M&M's Camry, and the dark horse, Martin Truex Jr. In the race, Harvick was second, Joker Logano was third, but that wasn't good enough for him to continue on. The Toad was fourth. The pole sitter there, Jimmy Johnson, fought his way back up to fifth. The old man was 6th in his last Phoenix appearance. And Kurt Busch, the first Chase champion 11 years ago, was 7th. But that was not enough for him to advance to the final round in Homestead. Bad Brad Keselowski was 9th, but again, like his teammate, that's not enough to get a Penske driver into the Final Four. Carl Edwards was 12th, but got bumped out by Truex, who was 14th. It was a long day into night of racing, and because of it, I missed seeing the Seahawks get beat. And I had to watch Walking Dead on the late cycle and stay up real late. But anyway, so the next race for the Sprint Cup, folks, is the last race of the season at Homestead, Florida, where Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, the Toad, and the Dark Horse will race for the championship this coming Sunday on NBC. So there's not much else to cover. There was a K&N Pro West race last Thursday night at Phoenix, and that will be broadcast tomorrow around 3, 4 o'clock, I think, on NBCSN. If I remember correctly, David Gilliland's boy Todd won his first race there at real young, 15 years old or something crazy like that. And the winner for the K&N West Series for the year was Chris Eagleston, I do believe. Okay, be sure to watch that tomorrow, though. But there isn't much else coming until next year. Of course, the championship will be awarded at Homestead for the 3 top divisions of NASCAR. The Camping World Trucks will be on Fox Sports 1 Friday night. Then the Xfinity finale will be Saturday afternoon on NBC proper, Channel 5 around here, as will be the Sprint Cup finale on Sunday. Also, qualifying practices will be on NBCSN on Friday and Saturday, and as well as on Sunday if the race goes too long or threatens the NFL Sunday night game there. So, there you have it. Nothing else to cover, so until next week, when you can see me right here, same Stock Car time, same Stock Car channel. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks very much for watching, and until then, thanks again. Next time.